morning, everybody, and good evening for some of our guests. It's Michelle Alcorn and my mom, Helen Alcorn, here from Atlantic Canada Cooks on this absolutely beautiful August 25th morning. And it's a really exciting time, really around the globe right now, because a majority of schools in another week are going to be starting to get back to school. So I always think that this is a fun time of year. It's nostalgic time of year because I feel like it brings back a lot of memories. And mom had three of us to get up through school. And today we're going to be featuring a couple of recipes that are really great for people that have kids that are going to school. Maybe a couple of different things that you can send them for school lunches, and a couple of recipes for parents so that when you can get home at the end of your workday, maybe you can just make something a little extra healthy for your family to enjoy. Because I think summer brings on a lot of extra cooking and healthy. Right now here in Atlantic Canada, there is so much stuff.
The harvest is coming in.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Everything from cucumbers to zucchini, lots of zucchini. It's funny, I was talking to our good friend Elena. Carrots, tomatoes, like
everything's coming.
everything's coming out to bloom. And blueberries. We're not going to talk about blueberries today, but such a huge deal here in Atlantic Canada. We produce very large amount of blueberries that are exported around the globe.
Wild blueberries.
Right?
Yeah.
Which have double the amount of antioxidants.
Right.
So, but let's get going on some back to school. Let's talk about our menu. So we're actually going to start with something really fun. I think we know what these are. It's like a global, every country has a hot dog of some type. And I love it because a lot of them are spiced or they're different seasons or different flavoring. These ones are an all beef dog. You can get them chicken dogs, pork dogs, whatever. Oh, actually, these are chicken dogs. These are chicken. But whatever kind you want. And mom, this recipe that we're going to do is inspired from my childhood because I think a lot, my brother and I, we really like to bring warmer lunches. We didn't love sandwiches all the time. I think you and I were asking people yesterday. Faraz from the Rabia store. He said, even if I send my kid with a sandwich, he doesn't eat it. So apparently that's a global thing too. But we want to talk about some things. So while I get the kettle, what did you do with hot dogs for us, Mom?
Well, you all had smaller thermoses and wide mouth. Sometimes I would put soup in it, or I heat up SpaghettiOs and put it in. And I would put the hot dogs, a couple of hot dogs in the thermos and put boiling water on top of them. So by noon, they were well cooked and hot. And I sent a couple pieces of bread with them. And then they had a hot dog for lunch, which they enjoyed. At least they ate it.
We did. And our friends
were envious.
They were. So I just placed 3 hot dogs in here. And they're sealed in the thermos. So they're ready to go. And in all honesty, they're probably done in about an hour or less.
Oh, yeah.
But at least you know that if we waited for what would be a normal lunchtime. So we got our hot dogs in here.
And that's a big thermos. Now, those kids had a smaller thermos. The hot dogs just fit in them.
The good news is I could put a whole bunch of hot dogs in this one.
Yeah.
So I think, and I've got our good friend Dion's on here from Halifax, and he loves to go hiking and walking. I don't know, sometimes you take snacks, but that could be a fun alternative for when you're going biking sometimes. So, but with that, my favorite toppings for hot dogs, mine was always really simple. Michelle liked mustard and relish.
Yeah.
Right? I was like a mustard and relish girl. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little bit of just a fun topping that you could put that's got a little bit of everything in it. So if you are bringing one of those to work or wherever, you've got an extra kind of hot dog topping all in one. So in this bowl, we've got some mayonnaise. And with that, I am gonna put about a tablespoon of that lovely relish. So, and you can use different types. This is a sweet relish. I really like the relish that's made out of dill pickles
Yeah.
because Michelle loves dill pickles. So we've got mayonnaise and we've got some relish in there. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is I love mustard. So I'm gonna put a nice chunk, and I'm using this Atlantic mustard mill. We love talking about products that are made here in Atlantic Canada. This is Prince Edward Island. And I know our good friend Shinobu's on here and she loved to visit Prince Edward Island. But this is a beautiful local product. So we're gonna mix those in there. Now, I know ketchup is like a global phenomenon that everybody likes, but just instead of ketchup today, because I have some of Erica's wonderful Done Right barbecue sauce, I'm gonna add into that mixture just a little bit of barbecue sauce. So I think that be adventurous with your sauces too. And Mom, do you want to stir this for me? I'm gonna get our burner turned on in the back here, because one of the other things we're gonna make today is some carrot soup. So, oh, that already looks good.
Ooh, smells
And
good.
smells good. So, all you need to do to finish off that hot dog is have a hot dog bun, or you can use a nice wrap and roll that up. And then you've got a delicious warm lunch. And I know in some of our schools here, I had to taste that.
I know.
So good. They have microwaves or places where the students can heat up things.
Yes, now they have.
They do. They have a lot.
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily back then, but at least this way you don't have to get in the microwave lineup.
Yeah.
All of your stuff is ready to go. So I'm gonna put this sauce across over here. Mom's gonna sit down and take a rest. So with the carrot soup, again, I love soup. I love soup all year long, but especially come in the fall. And we're harvesting extraordinary amounts of fresh carrots this time of year. We picked up some nice fresh local carrots yesterday. And what I have done is just cut the carrots up into this great easy size. I made sure as I cut my carrots that they're similar in size. And that's just so that they could cook nice and evenly. Because if you don't have them cut up, they're not going to cook at the same rate. This carrot soup, we're going to puree. So we're not so worried about what these look like in the end. So in here, in this particular bowl, I have about 4 cups of carrots. And in the back burner, I've got the burner warming up right now. We've got a little bit of olive oil in there. And what I'm going to add in is I've got some sliced onion. So I've taken 2 medium-sized onions and I've sliced them up. So we're going to start in the bottom of this pan with some onion when the pan's nice and warm. So we're going to get that, and we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. But the other ingredient I'm going to add to this is this beautiful fresh ginger and some garlic. So I hope what you see, let me pick this garlic up here. And this garlic smells amazing. I actually grew the garlic in my backyard. This is when we want that beautiful smell-o-vision. Look at this, that garlic looks amazing. So as you see, I've got about a palm full of garlic, probably about 2 tablespoons. Here in Atlantic Canada Cooks, we say whatever the recipe is, double the garlic. So a very healthy soup. So we're gonna put the garlic in here. Mom's grinding the pepper. And with the ginger, I just want to take some of the skins off it. And they come off very easily. And I'm going to put the ginger in there to get all the nutrients and really great flavor out of it. So we want to, and I want the ginger to cook down. This soup will be a pureed soup. So at the end of it, there won't be chunks of anything in it. And again, that's a beautiful thing for a great lunch to take to school in a thermos. The soup is hot, it's ready to go. You can eat that right away. But the other thing is it's a soup that keeps in your refrigerator a long time. So it's a great soup to make. Then you can have a nice hot bowl of soup when you get home from work. So I'm putting about a thumb, a little bit of a big thumb size of the ginger that's going to go into this soup. And I am just going to cut this up into thin slices. And oh my goodness, if you could smell right now as I'm cutting this ginger, it smells amazing. And a similar amount of ginger to garlic. Ooh, really good and healthy. So we're going to give this to Mom as well to put in. Isn't it amazing how onions smell like garlic? It immediately smells amazing.
Yeah.
So I was out in my backyard this morning and I got some wonderful fresh thyme. This is my favorite herb for those of you who have joined us over the last 4 years. You can always give the gift of time. But this is my favorite herb. And I'm going to give this to Mom. And we can really just throw it in like this because those tiny little leaves will come off and then we'll pull the sticks out. But what we'll probably do is try to pull some of the leaves off. And when, look, I'm going to get that stuck because my hands are covered in ginger. So then you can just pull the leaves off the stalks and oh, that beautiful aroma. And it's kind of good when you do that with the herbs because you wake up the aroma of the herbs. So you get that really extra fresh scent. Try not to have ginger on your hands when you're doing it. They won't be as slippery. But here we go. And look at that. We've got that wonderful amount of thyme. And I'm going to give this to Mom. I'm going to pop that in there. I think those ones are good. Not as many sticks to pull out, Mom. Good. Right? So there we go. The little sticks over here. So we're going to let the onions, garlic, ginger, thyme, and a bit of salt and pepper just cook down a little bit. We used olive oil in the bottom of that pan. We need a little bit more olive oil. Good. Mom's adding a bit more olive oil. Again, I really want to encourage you in place of butter and some other things, get a little bit more olive oil in your life. I know after spending a few weeks in Morocco, we use olive oil on everything in that country, and it's so healthy for your body. So those are just going to cook down until they get soft. We want to caramelize them a little bit because it brings out the flavor. And then we're just going to add the carrots in and probably cook the carrots with that for about 5 minutes with all of those flavors. And then we're going to add the liquid. Now, we just need to add water. You could use a vegetable stock or a chicken stock if you would like. But I love showing recipes that not everybody has stock available or those little bouillon cubes. There's so much great fresh herbs that the water is just perfect for this recipe. And I'm going to double up in my herbs in this recipe because also I've got some wonderful fresh cilantro I'm going to add to it afterwards. So let me just take a peek here. Oh, that pot. It smells so good. Then you stick your head in there. So we're going to add those carrots. And we're going to let that stir around. And then Mom, we just need to fill that with hot water and we'll put that in there. In a minute, we'll let that groove, sit and groove. So we talked about hot dogs for that bring to lunch, to school or work. We've got our thermos here with our hot dogs cooking. And the soup also easy for after school or taking to school as a healthy recipe. But I know one of the things I often hear my friends that are parents talk about, and I know most of you know, but we own a school, and I am the very proud president and CEO of Atlantic Canada Language Academy. So our students, I'm always curious what they have for lunch. And because our students are from all over the world, I always love seeing the wonderful things. We've got a couple of our students on here, and hi to YouTube. I know Shinobu is from Japan, and I would often see Shinobu bring some nice rice and a few other dishes, and she'd be there masterly with her chopsticks, being able to eat her food. But these are, eating healthy recipes and getting connected with international culture is just awesome. And you know what? You can eat anything, any time of day is what I've learned. So zucchini is something that right now here in Atlantic Canada, we grow a lot of, and it is everywhere. And I'm waiting, mine are only this big, but a friend of ours, Elena, apparently her zucchini are getting very big. So this is a very simple and very tasty recipe. So in the bottom of this pan, I've got some olive oil that I've just put through the bottom. And it doesn't need to be a glass pan, but just a nice size baking sheet so that you can put that in there. So we've got olive oil on the bottom of the pan. And what I'm going to do is I have these raw onions that I have sliced in nice, very similar size slices. And I'm just going to layer these onions across the bottom of the pan. And this is kind of like, I almost call it a zucchini lasagna, if you would like, for a lack of a better term. But the nice thing about this is it just really does build layers of flavor. I put the onions on the bottom because the bottom is going to get some of the strongest heat when this is baking. And we really want the onions to make sure they get cooked down. So there's that nice layer of onion across the bottom. And fresh tomatoes, that's another just amazing thing this time of year that we see a lot of. I'm just trying to make some room here on my board. There we go. Put these up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice the tomato into thin, flat slices. So just like you might for a sandwich. And we're going to put a layer of tomato. These are beautiful fresh tomatoes. I got them from one of our local vendors yesterday at the Rabia store, where my mother and I love to go shop. And because we've been eating all the tomatoes coming out of our garden, right, Mom?
Yeah.
Not cooking with them. There's one of our little ones. Isn't it cute? A little Roma tomato. And we've been just using those to eat pretty much like candy or apples. Or put them in our salads or enjoying them just nicely sliced with our dinners. So building this, we're going to put this nice layer of tomato all across. I've got 2 tomatoes here. One is going to do for this particular layer. It's perfect. And then I'm going to have a little fun today and use 2 different zucchini. We've got this beautiful yellow zucchini and we have a green zucchini. Now, I find they taste similar. Oh, we got that pot on there. Awesome. So we're going to get that soup boiling so we can get that cooked down because we are going to puree that soup. So hopefully you guys can see. I'm going to show you a little trick because zucchini are round. That means they're going to roll around your board. So if you just take one side of your zucchini and you're taking a little bit of the peeling off, we're going to eat the peeling. These are beautiful young zucchini. And the reason why I'm going to do this is now it's going to sit flat on my board here, as you see, because I want to cut this zucchini into thin slices because this is going to act like our noodles. And for our vegetarian friends, we're going to be coming up soon and doing our whole World Vegetarian Day is coming up. And we're going to feature some great recipes for vegetarians. This is a great recipe for that. Albeit today, I am going to add some meat to this, but that is a simple alternative. You do not need to add the meat, but I often joke and say we're meatitarians versus vegetarians, but we love our vegetables. And I think in the summer we eat way healthy. And sometimes when the fall hits, we don't eat as healthy. So I hope this particular recipe inspires some people. See, this particular one's a little thicker. So Michelle's going to attempt to cut this a little thinner because you want them about a half a centimeter in thickness. So again, that they cook evenly. Because Michelle has a little fight with this zucchini. Well, I will win the zucchini fight today. There we go. So these will go across. Again, we're layering them kind of like a lasagna. Here we have it. So you see that layer fills all that area. Now, zucchini has a lot of moisture. A lot of people ask me why I'm not adding some moisture to this particular recipe. It's because zucchini itself has a tremendous amount of moisture in it. And as it cooks down, you're going to see that flavor come out and the liquid come out of it.
And the juice.
Right? And the juices from the tomato. That's such a great idea. So I love going to, there's a wonderful company. It's Kurt Sausages here in Moncton. They've been around as long as I can remember. And they do these amazing meatloaf. And these are really big sizes. Amazing. This particular one has donair seasoning in it. And this one on the other side is seasoned with some onion inside of it. So we're going to use this as one layer. You can use like a nice cured beef is delicious through it. Prosciutto for my Italian friends that really like that. Whatever it is. And it's the same idea that we did. And it's just to get that consistent layer that's going to go through. And that's going to add some wonderful extra seasoning. So if you see in there, we have that layer of meat. So right now we've got onions, tomatoes, zucchini, and we've got that beautiful meat. So what I'm going to do now is I've got one more zucchini here. And I'm going to do the same thing so that my zucchini doesn't roll around on me. And we're just going to do the same process of cutting this one and those thin slices. And this is going to bake. We're going to get it into the oven and get it baking. But it does take about 35 to 40 minutes. So it might not be completely done by the time we're done our show. But it is a great thing to eat. Honestly, you can use this as a breakfast recipe if you so chose, but we're going to be enjoying that this afternoon, or potentially my family is going to get a good chance to have a taste of this. So there we go. Whoops, we're going to drop some of that zucchini at the same time. So we're going to add this layer of zucchini, which is, this is the perfect size zucchini. It's like it was made to measure for this particular pan. Look at that. Straight across. You can already feel the weight of this. So I want to add some, because I have some beautiful fresh basil. So grab any fresh herbs that you have. Look at this beautiful fresh basil plant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer of basil that's going to go in here. And when this bakes through, it's going to add the most tremendous flavor to this recipe. And these are very inexpensive. We're going to put it outside. It'll triple in size so that Michelle can make some basil pesto there in about 4 weeks. But these were on sale at the store for a couple of dollars. And normally you're just buying the basil to use. So if you get a chance to buy a plant, get a plant, so that you can keep eating basil all season.
Smells good.
Right? Actually, I'm going to do a little trick. We're going to put the basil underneath the zucchini.
Oh,
So I'm just going to
I'll let you
rearrange
do it.
this. Mom's here beside me. I'm going to put that fresh basil underneath the layers of zucchini because I'm really going to top this off with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And the reason why I'm putting the basil underneath is basil is a really light herb, and sometimes if basil gets exposed to direct heat, it will burn. And we do not want that to burn. So we're just gonna put that basil. I just slipped it underneath that layer of the zucchini. Now put as much as you want. I recommend a good amount because that flavor is gonna go through that recipe. And it's really gonna add so much more to it. So across the top of this, we're gonna add some salt and pepper. I always like to say, get some fresh cracked pepper into your world. It's one of the most inexpensive but yet delicious spices and seasonings that you can use. And then we've got some nice sea salt in here, smoked sea salt. And we're gonna put a layer of that across. And then the only other seasoning I'm gonna add, just because I have it handy, as I say that right here, is I'm just gonna add a little bit of garlic powder. And remember, it's not garlic salt, it's a garlic powder. So it doesn't have any of that extra, but it's gonna taste delicious. But that little basil plant contributed to our deliciousness today. And I know I have some cheese grated here somewhere. I might have to get Mom to give me a hand locator. Oh, there we go. So hopefully you can see here, we've got zucchini. And what I have in here is I have some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Use whatever cheese that you want. I love Parmesan because it's light and it also has a good salty flavor to it. And it's gonna really add that last little deliciousness to the top of this. So you can make cheese optional if you want. I love cheese. I can't eat a lot of dairy, but I always make room for cheese in my world. So we have the oven on 375. There you can see the side of that. And that's how it looks just before you put that into the oven. So, Mom, if you don't mind, I'll move this slightly over. There we go. How's our soup doing, Mom?
It's just a bubble.
Good. So that soup's cooking away. It won't take long. It's going to take about 30 minutes, and then we're going to puree that soup. So when you get home, that casserole, as you see, took very little time to do. You can make that the night before and put that in your refrigerator if you would like. And then it's ready for you when you get home from work or to be able to have with your kids or your family. So keeping healthy during back to school is definitely a big deal. So I love snacking and I love sandwiches. So you're going to see this wonderful, we've got a beautiful whole roasted chicken here. And we used a really good shawarma seasoning on there. I love chicken shawarma. I love experiencing international flavors. I've got the spice mixture that's already made up for me, but put whatever your favorite chicken seasonings on, and really good prices to get small whole chickens. You get a lot of value there. And then if you want, you've got the bones and you can make a chicken stock afterwards. So on this particular one, I've already cut off this side and you see all this beautiful chicken that's here. And what's great about that is it's perfect for sandwiches, perfect for anything that you want. And today we're going to do a chicken shawarma wrap. And I ate a lot of these in my last trip to Morocco because they're absolutely delicious. We're going to make a little bit of a sauce that's going to go into that. So behind me, again, I've got a bowl with some mayonnaise in it. Mayonnaise is that food lube, to quote Guy Fieri. And a little goes a long way, and it's fantastic for those sauces and a creaminess. For a traditional chicken shawarma, you're often seeing a sauce that would be made out of a Greek yogurt or a yogurt as well. So in this particular one, we're going to start with our mayonnaise. And what I'm going to add to this, just to amp up the seasoning a little bit, I think I have a spoon here. Oh, that paprika smells amazing. Yeah. Make sure I wasn't using a used spoon. So because of the amount I'm making, I'm just going to use a little bit of paprika. that's gonna go in. It's gonna end up making my sauce look red as well. And I've got some dried onion flakes that are gonna go into this as well. And then again, I'm gonna use a little bit of that garlic powder. I have a feeling as I'm going along, this is a garlicky meal. That's okay. So we're gonna use a little bit of garlic powder. A good garlic sauce inside a shawarma is amazing. And I feel like I should have put more garlic, but we're okay with that. We're gonna get this stirred up. And the only other thing I need is that salt and pepper back. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper. It actually is gonna turn this into a beautiful color because of the paprika. And this is a sauce that, in all honesty, you could use on anything. It would be equally good on those hot dogs that I'm making. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper to it. And then you make sure that that beautiful seasoning will go all through that sandwich. And it's funny because people often say, Michelle, you eat some funny things for breakfast on Sundays. But you know what? It really doesn't matter what time of day you're eating food. In so many cultures, different than Canada, they would eat foods at different times a day. I think the most important thing is getting good, healthy food and eating the things that you want. And in the mornings, get some protein. That would be the one tip that we have. So why not have a chicken sandwich? So there's our sauce. It looks beautiful. And I know. And it tastes amazing. It definitely has the punch of garlic that you're looking for, because a good chicken shawarma sandwich needs to have a little bit of that garlic in it to make it perfect. Now, these are really nice wraps that you can get from local vendors. I've cut one in half. So these are really great because when you pull this pita open, I love it. So great the way they make these. There we have a pocket. So this makes it much easier to make that sandwich. I'm going to show you kind of a half of one. I'm kind of excited about this. So we want a good amount of our sauce, and we're going to put the sauce all the way through the inside of it. And I want to make sure it's on both sides of the inside of that. Because what do we always say? Food is meant to be sauced. And I believe sandwiches need to have a good sauce in them. This is a great street food. I think I even remember Jawad, you and I were, and a couple of our friends were going along, and we're like, let's get a shawarma. And it was like the fastest delivery ever. We pulled up in front of this great restaurant in Arabic. I didn't know, they clearly yelled out, let's get some chicken shawarmas. And about 4 minutes later, these hot grilled sandwiches were right back at our window. So I hope someone here in Atlantic Canada opens up a restaurant that will do that for us. So the pocket's open. We've got these beautiful layers of chicken. So we're going to put a couple of really nice pieces of chicken. And I'm going to keep my ingredients a little bit to one side of this wrap. And that's because I want to be able to roll it up. So we've got nice sized chunks of chicken that are inside that pocket. And then the other thing that is really important is to put some nice fresh lettuce in there. And the lettuce brings a freshness. And so we've got a nice piece of fresh romaine lettuce that's going to go in.
And the crunchy.
And the crunchy. But Mom, the other side that is really important is some pickles. So now we're going to put a couple of pickles in there. Now, the other thing, it's a little bit more traditional. What Michelle did a little bit of different would be to put some onions in there. I have some wonderful caramelized onions that I did up last night. And I want to say, getting some caramelized onions, we'll publish that recipe. We've published it before. And have them cooked in your fridge, because then you can add these to anything. One of the keys in eating healthy all week is to have ingredients that are already cooked and ready. So there we go. We're going to put those caramelized onions in our shawarma wrap. I'm getting hungry just looking at this. So there's the inside with those great ingredients. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pita and fold it around And look at that. You've got a perfect chicken shawarma sandwich. I love hot sandwiches, so you can put this into a grill, like a panini grill, and grill that, or it's ready to go as is. And I find if you make a wrap and you're
That for me.
eating it a few hours from now, absolutely jump in there and have a taste of that, Mom. That the wraps stay better than bread would.
Oh, very good. Oh,
Right? There's this, I'm gonna need a bite of that.
mm,
Oh yeah.
the sauce is delicious.
The garlic, and get the garlic hit. The chicken has a wonderful flavor, and then the freshness from the pickle
Yeah.
and the lettuce, right? So, I will send Mom away with that. And the chicken. So we have a whole roasted chicken that we can enjoy our sandwiches with. The other thing I'm gonna do with this chicken is show you a little bit. I'm gonna take a couple of pieces here. I'm gonna trade Mom. Can you get that? All right. Send Mom away. With that, I am gonna take 2 seconds, check on our soup. I just did. It's boiling away. We have water in there. I'm just gonna give my hands a rinse. So not everybody can eat bowls or wraps. I know we've got a lot of gluten allergies and things in our family as well. So one of my other favorite things to have is to do what we call a bowl. And we call this a lot in Canada. You'll find it at our taco places. So instead of getting any wheat or wraps on it, you just build your beautiful meal in a bowl. Here we go. And the great thing about this is a common way Michelle likes to have her dinners as well, is it's easy to do. Again, it's easy to pack for lunch because you put all the different pieces. So in this bowl, I am going to add, and this is one of my favorite things, is some cooked quinoa. And quinoa is a great super grain. You see that we cooked that quinoa up last night. We'll put the recipe out there. And again, it's getting protein in your day. I can't stress that enough. So we're going to put a little bit of the quinoa on the side of our bowl here. So that's off to the side. And we're pretty much going to add a lot of similar ingredients that we did that were in our sandwich. But you can add some extra things to your bowl or your sandwich if you like. So we're going to take some of that great romaine lettuce. For this, I want to cut everything up into smaller pieces in this particular application of it, I guess we would say. So you've got your quinoa, you've got your lettuce over here. And then what I'm going to take is we've got some tomato, and we want to cut some nice pieces of that fresh tomato up. And because again, you want everything to be bite-sized, because when I serve a bowl, I don't want anybody to worry about needing a knife to be able to cut anything up. We want everything to be bite-sized and ready to go. And I've often said this, when I go to a restaurant and they serve me lettuce and it's so big, I can't get it in my mouth. I'm always like, cut it up. So this way, when you're eating this particular bowl, you know that you've got everything that you need, and they look beautiful. So I'm going to add a little green onion to this. And I think green onions are one of the most amazing things. I see them in all food cultures around the world, especially in a lot of the Asian cooking we do. There's a lot of green onion. And again, they're not so harsh, but it adds an unbelievable freshness to a bowl like this. Just before I put my green onion in, I'm going to take and place my chicken on the side here. And the other thing that's great about these is you can really get that serving size that you're looking for. And they're beautiful when they're done, and you build that out. So we're going to top our green onion here in the middle. And then, of course, I've got those beautiful caramelized onions. Hold those up again. They've got onions, and they've got some garlic caramelized in there. The flavor of it is amazing. I know I was doing a lot of taste testing last night. See, Mama is already ahead of me. So it already looks beautiful. You can put a nice fresh yogurt sauce on that, a garlic sauce, whatever you might want. But we do have a couple more ingredients that we want to add to the side of this. And that's some pickles, because again, that briny flavor of a pickle just, to me, just adds a different layer of flavors. So also lots being harvested now here, radish. This is actually one of my absolute favorite little vegetables. We love that. Look at that perfect white inside and the red. What I love about a radish is it has a bite. There's a certain sharpness to it and a freshness that are so delicious. And they're nice and crunchy. So when you're making a recipe, and they look pretty, I might add, it's like red and white. It's probably Canada's, there we go, a red and white. Well, it's really kind of a pinky red, but that's all right. I'm going to top that off with some of our sauce, but this would be one of my favorite lunches to have, and that's a chicken shawarma bowl. You certainly can grab a piece of pita to enjoy with that if you would like, but this is absolutely amazing on its own. And I think I got to find my sauce.
Here it is, here.
Oh, there we go.
Put it over there.
We've got the sauce there. And if you didn't want to use a seasoned sauce, and I just want to stress, like, simply some nice sour cream or yogurt to top off this dish is perfect. So get some of these healthy bowls into your world, and I promise you, you're going to feel full, you're going to feel satisfied, and it's going to give you that great energy to keep going in the day. So as I can smell the casserole. I must say, Mom, have a peek in the oven and see what that looks like.
It's not still there.
It's the comedian. It's still there. It's baking away, but again,
Yes,
I
it
know that that's going to be taking a bit more time to get that cooked through, but we just want to test those carrots. And this morning I was picking some wonderful fresh cilantro out of my garden. So now that the soup is pretty much almost cooked through, I'm going to add some of this beautiful cilantro.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, wow. As a freshness to the soup. And just before we puree that. So I want to make sure that this herb is in there.
Yeah.
And I have intentionally waited till the end because I really want that brightness of the cilantro. Hey, Holly, to come in. And I think we have Joan there from St. John. We just really want to say thanks. We see so many of our friends that Zoom in, and we know that we've got some of our great friends listening on YouTube. I feel like today's measurement has been, there's a handful going in. But we're going to put a nice handful of that beautiful
I turned
cilantro.
it off, everything's cooked.
Everything's good. All right. So we're going to get I'm going to puree that in a second. But I'm going to prepare a little snack that's one of my favorite to have. And I'm going to need any of my Moroccan friends in there because I'm going to end up saying this wrong. But there's, get some peanut butter, get some nut butter into your life. And the reason why I want to stress this, I know especially here in Canada, there's a lot of food allergies and a lot of parents can't send their kids to school with these nut butters. But at home, if you don't have any food allergies in your house, you're really going to amp up flavor and protein. We're always looking for healthy snacks. And I've been really focused on looking for more healthy snacks for myself, especially in the daytime. So in this wonderful jar that is still packaged from me coming back from Morocco and I think it's Amoula. I'm going to say it wrong. We'll get Jawad to type it in. I'm going to use a spoon, Mom, if that's okay. There we go. So in this jar, and you won't necessarily be able to get this, but you can make a little bit of a version yourself. But we're going to show you some other wonderful nut butters. And I just wanted to show you the consistency of this. It's absolutely perfect for dipping or adding to things. In this is a beautiful, beautiful almond butter. So, but added to that, and this is very traditional in Morocco, is some argan oil made for ingestion, so super healthy for your skin and everything, and some honey. And I can tell you the flavor, Mom was trying it yesterday. Yeah. We're going to put some of that in a bowl. So we know that you will not always have this, but I'm sure where you are in your country or wherever, you're going to get like just, and I can tell you the smell of it is amazing. And Michelle's going to lick the spoon. Because I can. And now it's going to stick to my mouth perfectly. So put a beautiful nut butter in a little bowl on a plate. So you've got something for dipping. I've got a couple of these ones over here too. I want to say hi to Robert, our friends at Nutsmith in Windsor, Nova Scotia. So in here, this is also an almond butter. So you can get some wonderful fresh. These are locally made here in Atlantic Canada. And look at this one. This is my favorite, crunchy peanut butter. So if you don't have a blend, you can grab a really good local nut butter, whatever your favorite may be. And you can eat it just with the nut butter or add a little honey or maple syrup to that and stir it up. Just to add a little bit more health and deliciousness to it. So the simple thing about this snack, that's the most complicated thing you're going to do. We've got some beautiful dark chocolate here. So this is a wonderful, it's an 80% cocoa. And this particular dark chocolate also has some nuts in it. So you can put some chocolate on a plate. I recommend to use a dark chocolate. And the reason is it's much healthier. Your other milk chocolates have a lot of added sugar to them. And find a nice local fresh apple. And it's complete apple season here. It's just beginning. We're seeing early apples come. And then all through September is going to be the best apple season here in Atlantic Canada. So we get pretty excited about it. So what you're going to want to do with this wonderful snack is cut your apples up. And this is why I want you, if your nut butter isn't a little bit creamy, add some honey or something to it. And then here you go. This, you're going to see one of Michelle's favorite snacks. They probably have this 5 days a week. And that's some chocolate, some nut butter, and an apple. The combination is perfection. So, I have a little party in my mouth right now. It's absolutely amazing. A little trick, you're cutting your apple up into slices and you don't want it to get brown, which is not going to hurt you. It's oxidization. All you need to do is take a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice and just squeeze a little bit over the top of it. And that will help making sure that your apple doesn't turn brown while you're waiting for it. I just squeezed that and it went over there. I'll be cleaning lemon juice up. There we go. And just squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on your apple. It tastes delicious, but it'll help it to make sure it doesn't oxidize. Super simple snack. If you take some time this week to have it, send me a picture, post on our Instagram or on our Facebook page or group. Tell us a little bit more about some of these nice snacks that you're having. So I'm going to get, oh, the casserole looks perfect. So I'm going to get Mom to come up and taste a bit of this or talk a little bit about a couple of other snacks, Mom. But I am going to blend up our soup so we can end off this recipe. We've got some nice protein bars and snacks. Here we can talk about some cucumbers and maybe just a little bit of fruit snacks, Mom. which of course is one of our favorite to have,
Well, here I am.
right?
This is watermelon and it doesn't get any better. It's nice and juicy. If you're thirsty, helps you with some water in your body and it really tastes good. And you have a nice flavor and a little treat, with a drink of water. And
Yeah, sometimes you put it in watermelon.
And what else? Well, I have cut up watermelon and we've taken the mint and put a little bit of mint in it. That's really good. And she's noisy. And then we have all your little bars that you can get at the stores. The snack bars, they're good for lunches to take to work because there's a lot of protein in them. And of course, a wood apple is something to take, an orange to take, any fruit that you want, grapes. It's always good to, and nuts are good protein, a couple of handfuls of nuts. In the afternoon, you're hungry at work, or the kids can take a little bag of nuts to work or to school for their dessert or whatever. And pick out the nuts that the kids like, or make a bag of mixed nuts. Because you go to the bulk barn and you can buy a little bit of this, a little bit, and then
Yeah.
mix it. Yeah, so I just showed them that,
Exactly.
yeah, so that's a good,
What's the bulk burn, Mom?
bulk barn. Bulk barn is, a store where they sell everything in bulk. There's, sweets, there's chocolate, there's all different kinds of flours and
Nuts.
sugars and nuts and candies and all the proteins that you want, pastas, different pastas and, I don't know, there's so much stuff there. And you could just take a little baggie and take what you want, so you don't have to buy a whole lot to take home.
Right?
If you want to try something different, just take a little taste home, and if you like it, well, I'm going back next week to get a big bag.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And especially for smaller families, and we just want people to know, when you travel in a lot of countries, it's like going to your market where there's bags and bags of all your different things, and then you can choose a little or a lot of any one thing. Go visit and take some small amounts and try them. So we hope that we introduce you to some new vegetables and some new herbs. I can tell you that this soup is perfect. And as we wrap up our back to school, think about healthy snacks. Think about getting more just fresh local ingredients into your life. We have so many amazing local suppliers to be thankful for that spend hours to focus on quality and making sure that the things are great. So get out and visit those local vendors. Look at the color of that beautiful soup. And I can tell you, as I was spooning it out, it smells amazing. And that little kick of cilantro that I added right at the end, it's amazing. You get the heat of the ginger. You can definitely taste the freshness of your carrot. And it's a soup, again, that is great any time of day. And I know everybody loves it. One last thing that we do sometimes is, if you want to add, you could add a can of coconut milk to it.
Yes.
And it's a delicious, different flavor. There's sometimes I've taken that pot of soup and split it. So I take half of it to keep it seasoned this way, and then take the other half of the pot and add that coconut milk into it. And then you end up with two different types of soup. So
one nice and creamy,
right?
and it is.
And you'll see that this has a wonderful consistency to it, but you know that you're getting a little bit of that heartiness from the carrot. I can tell you, it's absolutely amazing. I'll let you have a taste test of that after.
Thanks.
We're going to set this behind us. I'm just going to take our casserole out as we wrap up today's episode and just show you what it looks like. It does need a little bit more cooking time, but work on some healthy snacks. Focus on staying in eating mode. Get up and have breakfast with your family in the morning before you're running out the door. please take time to get in the kitchen together. And I know we've been saying this consistently, but of course, one of your other best snacks that you can ever have is some fresh fruit. And we're very excited. I've got some wonderful Niagara peaches here from Niagara Falls here in Ontario. One of the best top peach producers there are here in Canada. So if you always have a nice bowl of fresh fruit, when people are running around on busy days, at least you know that you're going to get something great to have. And I want to give an extra thank you to Morocco for reminding me of how important to keep that fresh fruit is. Thank you, Mom. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week, but let's end on showing off this. It already looks amazing. Actually, it looks done, but I know that it just needs a little bit more time. Look at that. It's still sizzling and cooking on the sides.
yeah.
Actually, let me just poke this just a tiny bit more time to get the zucchini cooked completely through. So, come on around here, Mom. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, smells delicious.
The smell, honestly, I'm just gonna stand here and hold it because it smells divine.
Yeah.
So from our kitchens to yours, thank you so much for joining us this week. We've got exciting menus coming for September. There's a lot of unique things going on in September, and it's there's World Health Day, there's Vegetarian Day. We're going to be celebrating some other food cultures, and there's also World Food Bank Day coming up, and talking a little bit about zero waste. So if you have an opportunity to help contribute in your community to people that need some fresh food, please do. But take more time to get some great fresh local food into your life.
I agree. We eat a lot of it. Excuse me.
So back to school with health and wellness.